Folks, I've been asked kind of a loaded question, and so I'm going to try to answer it to the best of my ability. And so there'll be a little bit of back and forth on this. It's hard to answer this question, actually. Loud7 here on my one of my, I guess, comments for Nikki's gardening and cooking video says, "Hey Tony, hope it's all is well. I was talking to my wife and we were talking about moving to North Carolina. What area would you recommend for a middle-class family to move to, I guess?" And so my friend Loud7, that is a tough question to ask to Mr. North Carolina, Tony Glenn. By that I mean not that I'm like Mr. Beautiful or anything, but that I really am a proponent of North Carolina, even though we do have a very high gas tax. And it's not maybe the most inexpensive place to live. It's a pretty inexpensive place to live. And it's a very temperate, nice place. Not too hot, not too cold. A lot of great people, a lot of beauty. And so I'm going to answer it kind of in a number of ways. First of all, I'm going to go here to a map of North Carolina. And so I'm looking here. Let me go ahead and click into 100% so we can see this. This is North Carolina. I'm going to get the hand here so I can move around. And I'll show you kind of where I have always lived. I was raised right along in here in these high mountains. These are some of the highest mountains in Appalachia. Actually, the Black Mountains are right here. I was raised kind of down in this little area right along in here, this ridge next to the highest mountains in all of Appalachia, the Black Mountains. But you can see there's mountains all in through, very mountainous over here in this part of North Carolina. Currently, I live right up in here, but between Morganton and Valdez, right in here, kind of down in the what we call the Catawba Valley. This is the Catawba River that goes down through here and flows into Lake Norman, the largest man-made lake in all of North Carolina. And so this is sort of like what we call the foothills region. Down here is the South Mountains. You may have seen some of the videos that I've shown you about the South Mountains. They're absolutely beautiful. So for me, this is kind of a cool little compromise because up here in the high mountains, it's pretty cold. Living's a little tougher. If you live, some of the most beautiful places you can live, but it's become sort of resorty over here in Asheville, which is where I work now. It's kind of expensive to live there because it's sort of it's kind of one of those cities that makes a lot of top 10 lists, top 10 fun place to live, top 10 for outdoors, top 10 for if you like beer. I mean, it's all, if you like music, it's one of the best music cities in all of North Carolina. So there's a ton of reasons to like Asheville. It's kind of a quirky, artsy kind of place. I really loved growing up here in these high mountains up around Spruce Pine. But now I live, like I say, I live down here between Valdez and Morganton, a little place called Mineral Springs Mountain, which is kind of these little low mountains right here. And so what can I say? Beautiful and gorgeous and spectacular in the mountains, very cold in the winter, harder to find jobs. It sort of depends on what you do in life. You know, if you have a skill or trade like HVAC, or if you're an electrician, or if you're a plumber, if you're, things like that, that they do very well. Carpenters, they do well in the mountains. There's mining and lots of things like that. Down more into the foothills, we start getting into more of the, it's beautiful. To me, it's beautiful, it's temperate, it's salt of the earth kind of people, it's working class folks. Not a whole lot of rich people, but nice land. Where the jobs are, down here in Charlotte. I mean, they're here, they're over here at Winston-Salem, they're over here at Greensboro, High Point, all this. Now, where have I lived? Where can I quantifiably say is good? I've lived in the mountains. I've lived here in this part. I've lived over here in the Hickory, Newton, Conover area, which is quite nice. It used to be big time furniture area, not so much anymore. It's more into like fiber optics, cables, and things like that for the communications industry are made there. Google actually has a very nice data center up in Lenore up here, so we have some high tech, lots of bandwidth naturally because of that. Winston-Salem, a whole lot of this area right in here, folks, all this down in the southern part here, a lot of this is agricultural. You can see it's kind of rural looking. There are not a whole lot of huge population centers. Raleigh, of course, is a lot of government. Research Triangle Park is there. So if you're into high-tech stuff, the whole Durham, Wake Forest, Raleigh area is fantastic. Lots of good jobs, high-paying jobs there. Relatively speaking, for the South, it is hot. This whole area down in here, folks, this is hot down in here, my friends. And this is all coastal plain. And Nikki's family, my wife's family, who I dearly love, are from down here in this area. Here's Lumberton and Red Springs and Laurinburg and all this. This is kind of where Nikki was raised, down in this. It's the coastal plain. It's very fertile soil, lots of agriculture. Again, great people. But the closer you get toward the coast of North Carolina, at least out to what I call the elite sections, the more expensive it starts to get. The coast of North Carolina is pretty snazzy and cool. All this Bald Head Island, that's the place I went and felt the poorest I've ever felt in my life. Just how rich everyone seems to be there. Wilmington, the Outer Banks, fantastic. If you don't mind the hurricane threat, to me the Outer Banks are some of the prettiest coastal features in all of America, and I've been up and down at least the East Coast, and not been up and down the West Coast, so I can't really talk so much there. This Photoshop player, I can turn this off, and we can see more of the. Excuse me. Here we go. We can see more of the. More of the political features. North Carolina has 100 counties in it, and you just have to kind of, like I say, know what you like. Do you like outdoors? Do you like adventure? The mountains, to me, are the best. If you want higher paying jobs, you're looking at Charlotte, you're looking at Winston-Salem, Greensboro, Durham, Raleigh, all that. If you want to be into farming or just laid back lifestyle, there's still work to be had, but it's tougher here in the down east regions. If you love the seacoast, North Carolina's got a fantastic seacoast. If you know what you can do or have an angle that you can working near the water. One of the things I was going to say that you might want to do is, and I pulled up a few of my favorite places here on CityData. How many of y'all go to CityData? I don't know, but citydata.com, it's city-data.com, you can see it here, is a great website to go and check out places. So Valdese, North Carolina is where I live, a very small town. And what's neat about this is it will give you just a massive amount of statistical information, your male to female ratios. It'll give you estimated median household incomes. It'll tell you how much houses might cost, the real estate in an area. It'll give you a whole lot of demographics. Here's like what racial breakdown, so you can see that like the Valdese area where I live is a very white bread kind of place here. But we'll look at some other ones here in a minute. Here's home sales, typical home sales in Valdese, what it might cost. Looks like $110,000, $20,000 is about what homes are in Valdese. Now, that they're not, most of them aren't real fancy. I was real fortunate to get the beautiful place I got here. I was very lucky actually, just to break in the housing market and a motivated seller, and I got a lot more house than I probably deserved to have, but praise the Lord for that. But here's all kinds of stats you can read, and the ones that I always go to first are crime. I mean, you want to see, is it a safe place you're moving to? So here's a really cool kind of thing. So look here, you can see that per 100,000 people, it's because we don't have 100,000 people here, but if we had 100,000, we have 0 murders. Great, right? That's awesome. Rapes, what, 1? We have had 1, so per 100,000 people, that's 22. If you had 100,000, we don't. But you can see here some numbers. Robberies per 100,000, look, really 0. Amazing, isn't it? Assaults per 100,000, well, it says 88.2. So there's been some guys probably getting drunk and fighting. Burglaries per 100,000. Now this says 352. It's hard for me to believe. So that shows that there was 16 burglaries last year, I guess, or in whatever the date was in 2012. It's the latest data we have. So you can see a few burglaries have happened. Thefts 49. So you can see here's some data. So look at that, and you can kind of see this fairly. So let's look at this rating of 101.4 here for Valdese. Let's look at Charlotte and take a look at that. So of course Charlotte is our flagship huge city. You can see here's some photos. You go and look at the skyline, and so much to do and all there. You'll see that the incomes are probably much higher. So here's the estimated median household income, $50,950, whereas the rest of North Carolina, $45,150. And you can see all the various different, same sorts of things, racial breakdown. You see Charlotte's more of a racially diverse community. Home sales, much higher, 200,000, 180,000, that's, a common house in Charlotte. And you see, you look at all these different things here. You get down to crime, and whereas Valdese was what, 102, let's take a look at that again. 101 was the rating for Valdese. 386 is the rating for Charlotte. So let's look at another town like Asheville, which is the far west, kind of really artsy, cool town to be in. And again, you can go here and you can see what the median household income is. It's closer to the North Carolina average, so more than where I live, much lower than Charlotte. And Again, you go here to see it's once again it's very white, but it's pretty racially diverse in some ways. I mean, you have a lot of I see Hispanic folks, and there are some Native Americans and all that live out there in that area. Home sales, again, very expensive place to live. You see, it's comparable to a great deal with what, or a great comparison, I guess, with Charlotte. Get down here to crime again, and you look. So, Asheville, the rating is 399. This is amazing. To me, it's higher than Charlotte. That surprises me a bit. So I look here and I see what is happening. Probably it looks like thefts more than anything, doesn't it? It's what's boosting that up. So there's a lot of people stealing stuff. And so I don't know. I don't know that I would move to Asheville in based on that. I'm pretty happy to have this 101 rating. So my point here is that if you're going to move to North Carolina, know kind of what you want to do, what you enjoy. So Asheville might be a bad representation of the mountains. Let me pick something else. I like the fact that in the city data you can just go here in this line up on top and just put another town in. So let's go to my hometown, Spruce Pine, SPRUCE-PINE. I guess it should work. Let's try that and see. So here was where I was raised. So here we are, and of course there's beautiful Crabtree Falls and looks Grassy Creek Falls there for sure. Yeah. So it's a totally beautiful place. Let's go look a little bit at the crime rates and stuff for there. So you see 157. I'm still in Valdez. I'm in the safest place. So I kind of like it where I am. It's more temperate weather. I'm closer to good shopping and everything down in the Hickory area. But I like that you can go here. On any of this city data, you can go. You can see how cold it is, how rainy it is. You can see here earthquake activity, natural disasters. You can see all the hospitals, universities. This is just, I love going to city data. A place like Charlotte, you can go here and you can just read for hours all the different things. It has links to all the places. So I highly recommend you go to city data. You read about the town you might be going to, and then what I would say, the town you might want to go to, then I'd say take a little vacation and come down here and see. Hang out, get your feel for what it is really like. I guess my best advice is I love North Carolina, all of it. I'm not going to talk bad about one part or the other. You can do some research though and find out, like for instance, say Charlotte has a rating of 380 or whatever for crime. Find out what the rating where you live is. I mean, if you live in, I don't know, Chicago, what does Chicago rate? I mean, is moving to Charlotte better than living there? Is it cheaper? Do you stand to make good money? Do you think you're going to like the climate? I think North Carolina is one of the best of the Atlantic coast states. And we have mountains, we have sea, we have beautiful farmlands, we have beautiful rolling hillsides. It's not perfect, it's not maybe the greatest place in the world to live, but it's certainly, I think, one of the best. And it's one of the states that people are moving to quite often. So all I can say is give it a shot. I would welcome anybody that wants to come to North Carolina. I think it's a great place. I don't care to live anywhere else. I did have a job where I got to travel around a lot with a company called Christian Tours. So I've seen a lot of states, and I've liked a lot of places. But I think if I were given the choice to go to any of those other places, I still would come to North Carolina, not just because I'm used to it, but because I just really like the people here, and I like the climate, and I like the fact that it's pretty cheap to live here. And if you work hard, you can find, and you're willing to find work, you'll find it. So my best advice, I hope this has helped someone. Peace to all who watch this. If you have any questions or comments, or you want to talk about your section of North Carolina, or why you left North Carolina, maybe you used to live in North Carolina, you decided to go somewhere else. You know what? If you've been in North Carolina, moved somewhere else, tell what you miss about North Carolina, or tell what you didn't like about it that you like better, maybe about where you live now. So chime in, folks. So let's give Loud 7 some advice. Thanks for watching. Take it easy.